Okay, hello. So today for our group's Tableau assignment, we'll be going through several visualizations that we have done to demonstrate the differences in resale prices or transactions over the years and across different towns. So as a prospective buyer, one of the first things I look at is what are different resale prices across different towns. So one way to visualize this and to understand this is via a bar chart like I've done up here, whereby I have resale price versus town, and it is segregated by color. And it's very easy to see which one is the highest due to the length, whereby I can see Central Area and Bishan being the highest. However, the beauty of visualization is that if I use a different visualization type, it's able to highlight and showcase more information than a bar chart. So an example I have over here would be, if I were to use the same information and locate it in a map. So now in a map, I'm able to see exactly which locations are the more popular ones. So for example, I can see that generally the central areas, which are highlighted in red, are the more popular locations. So as a prospective buyer, if I'm looking to cut costs, I know that these are some areas that I will want to avoid because resale prices tend to be higher here. So this is an example of how visualization can be used to highlight different information. If I use different bar charts or maps to demonstrate the same information. So this is very useful to me as a prospective buyer compared to a bar chart because it's a lot more intuitive and visual. Yeah. So moving on, next, I'll move on to Dion.
Yep. So for me, I'm looking at the average floor square meters at the left chart. On the y-axis is stacked on each other in the number of stories. And as you can see here, despite having similar average floor square meters throughout the different floors, flats of higher floors commanded a much higher average resale price than those of lower floors in these transactions in the chart on the right. So going to as high as $1 million for the 49 to 51st story. This is likely because higher floor flats deliver a better view of the surroundings and receive less noise from the neighborhood. So I'm going to move on to the next visualization. So this is comparing median resale price against the remaining lease. This visualization shows how the median average resale prices are negatively affected by the remaining lease of the property. This data corresponds with the Ballas curve that the value of a leasehold property depreciates non-linearly with time. So we can see from the chart at the bottom, there's a spike in the number of transactions at around 94-year remaining lease, likely due to the minimum occupancy period of 5 years. So transactions before that still can occur under special appeal circumstances. So this increase in transaction across the different flat values at the 94-year remaining lease could be the cause of downward pressure on the median resale prices, as you can see on the top chart during that period. So there's also another surge in the transactions at around 66 years of remaining lease. So our conjecture is that flat owners may fear the prices of their flat starting to depreciate significantly beyond that point, hence more likely to sell. Yeah, so now I'll pass my time to Gunjita.
Thank you. So we have seen the different resale prices across the entire map of Singapore, and we've also zoomed into the different median prices. So now let's just zoom into two specific towns, namely Clementi and Yishun. Now this might seem like a very basic line graph, but on a more granular level, for these two towns, they can be seen as the more affordable areas to purchase in. So there's an almost upward constant increase in the resale prices over the years. And of course, the data that we have is only available for the last 5 years. So it's not possible to do a forecast because we need a bigger time span for that. So through this, the conclusion we can draw is that, if flat owners, they want a more affordable option, but at the same time, be able to sell it at a higher price than they bought in, these specific two areas is something they can look at when it comes to making a decision. Now I'll pass on the time to the next person to talk about the outliers in resale price.
So our team also translated the resale prices into a box and whisker plot. So over here you can see a box and whisker plot by flat type. And based on this visualization, you can actually see that 3-room flats actually have the most number of outliers in terms of resale price. So going on to the next visualization. To understand why 3-room flats have the most number of outliers in resale price, we actually went to take a look at where most of these flats that have sold above average are located in. A majority of the resales for apartments in Queenstown, Toa Payoh, and Clementi. And going on to the next visualization, we can actually see that this makes sense because for flats in Queenstown and Clementi, people are more inclined to pay a higher price, even if the remaining number of years on the lease may be lower. Buyers are also more inclined to pay more per square feet for apartments in Queenstown and Clementi and Toa Payoh, which might explain why for these 3-room flats, there might be a large number of outliers in resale price, which tends to be from these areas, for apartments in these areas. Yep. So moving on to the next person.
Okay, so this is a table of transactions and also the number of transactions for the past 5 years for all the towns, and also the percentage of the total. So like what share of the total the amount of transaction in each town amount to. So the maximum and minimum has been highlighted. So based on the available data, Bishan had the least share of transactions, while scroll down to the bottom, Yishun had the most. So yeah, Yishun had like over 30% of transactions. So for visualizations, we can also use the map to filter for the table. So if you click on any town area on the map, it will filter for the average resale price transactions and percentage of transactions. And for every filter, the maximum and minimum will be highlighted as well, and it moves dynamically. Yeah. So so if we zoom in to the next visual, so you can just select like more than one town as well. So if, for example, Clementi and Yishun are selected, then you can see for the past 5 years how many percent of transactions occurred in which town. So for visualization, you can use tables and other visuals to filter each other as well. Yeah. Okay, so this will be the last visual in the story.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
thank you. No more already, right?
Okay, I'll stop the recording here then.
Okay.